So Lex Friedman said something very, very interesting on his podcast the other day. He was interviewing some AI guy, the creator of, I think, OpenClaw, whatever, whoever that guy is. And they were talking about OpenAI, whatever, and so on, and about addiction, and about how there is a potential for people to get lost using AI. Now, I'm not going to deep dive into that because I got plenty of stuff to say about AI, really, but not here, not right now. But Lex said something that's very, very important, and that was very, 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 very honest and transparent question, really. He said, why is scrolling the iPhone so addictive? I mean, you already know what's there. Unless there is an acute emergency, unless you need to call somebody right away, unless there is something you instantly need to check, whatever, which there usually isn't, then you already know what's there. On your social media, there has been a new post, somebody has commented on something, somebody has sent you a message that you really didn't have to respond to urgently, etc., etc. You didn't receive any new mails within those 10 seconds, etc., etc. Now, why is still scrolling on the iPhone so addictive? And what does that mean for persuasion? Well, think about it. If scrolling on the iPhone is addictive because of the experience it gives you, because it's such a pleasant experience to scroll on the iPhone, it means that it is a way of capturing you. And I'm going to tie this into my own personal experience when I first started using a smartphone. Because I was pretty old in modern terms, I guess, when I started using an iPhone. Up until age 27, I didn't have a smartphone. Believe it or not. I have up until 27, or when I was 27, I received my first, or I bought my first iPhone 4. Yeah, old school iPhone, whatever. And at that time, I was using an old Nokia phone. You know, one of those old school phones where you could play Snake. If you're my age, right around 40 or late 30s, maybe mid 40s even, you remember Snake on Nokia. That was like a big deal way back in the day. And the phone had this green display. You could only watch text. You could call with it. You could text with it. I mean, what more did you need? I already had access to the internet on my computer. Why would I need, like a smartphone? And what's so smart about this phone is what I thought. And, it took maybe 3 minutes when I first opened up the iPhone and I started using it until I couldn't, to when I couldn't really put it down because I was just finding myself scrolling and scrolling and scrolling. It's addictive. It's really, really addictive. I'm not going to lie. And so that's part of what makes it so addictive. Like I said, the pleasant experience, because you want to scroll, not necessarily because you have to. Because let's face it, you don't have to. Like I said, nothing grave has happened. If there is something very serious in your life that happens, you're going to know about it. Somebody's going to tell you. Somebody's going to call you. Your neighbor is going to let you know. You'll know, right? Now, I decided to test that hypothesis out myself. So eventually, when my first iPhone 4 got worse and worse and the battery life really started decaying, after a while, I think I had to charge it constantly throughout the day because the battery level would just drop really, really fast. It really sucked. And that's an honest criticism against iPhone, especially way back in the day. The battery life was absolute dog shit, really. So what did I do? Well, I decided to test my hypothesis. I decided to get myself a Samsung. And the Samsung, let me tell you, that was something else. Unlike the iPhone, the default theme for a Samsung at that time was dark. And that does something to you. The human mind wants a light background. It's just more pleasant. That's probably why children prefer these vibrant light colors, yellow, pink, orange, green, etc. That's certainly not black, right? Black and dark, navy blue, gray, that's sort of like the anonymous, boring clothes, whatever. The more traditional conservative clothes. And so, if you make your default theme, your default background on the phone dark, well, then the pleasant experience just disappears. It ain't so pleasant anymore. Now you find yourself scrolling when you have to, and not because it's so fun and so good, just because you have to solve a problem. And that's an entirely different mindset shift, especially with respect to persuasion. You persuade yourself to scrolling the iPhone because the light background and the simpleness of the menus helps you, doing whatever you want. But that's totally different at that time from the Samsung. I don't know about these days. Maybe as Samsung is better. I haven't tried it in years. I don't even intend to try it in years because I'm admittedly hooked on iPhone. But I'm going to tell you more. So the iPhone menus, changing the settings, changing stuff, changing your background photo, whatever. It's so easy. It's so simple. Everyone can do it. That wasn't the case with the Samsung. I had to scroll and click on all of these menus and buttons and navigate through various different knobs and gears and whatever. It was like getting a massage with coarse grit sandpaper, really. I'm not joking, really. It was just unpleasant. It wasn't fun. It wasn't relaxing. It was more stressful, actually. The internet was a different case. It just felt heavier, more dour to use the Samsung compared to the iPhone. It wasn't pleasant. It wasn't seamless. It certainly wasn't seamless. It wasn't frictionless either. It was friction filled. Then eventually the Samsung stopped working, really. Because here's something interesting. Whenever I would receive calls, the screen would freeze. Like literally, the screen would freeze. And so you have these virtual buttons that you could tap to answer the call. Well, I couldn't tap the buttons because I couldn't answer the call. And the same thing happened when I called somebody. All of a sudden, the screen froze and I didn't hear the other person talk. And so I don't know what that was. Maybe the phone shut down, whatever it was. Anyway, long story short, that became my triggering experience to stop using Samsung, and then deliberately using iPhone henceforth. I've been using iPhone ever since. And it comes down to experience, really. The easiness, the simpleness, the pleasure it gives you. Even unboxing the iPhone is sort of like an experience in and of itself. Everything is just so wrapped nicely and simple. And yeah, it just gives you like this, for lack of a better expression, it gives you an honest dopamine drip, really, unboxing the iPhone. It does. Anyway, that's the persuasion lesson when it comes to using an iPhone. It's so addictive because it gives you a pleasant experience. Think about it. And how can you use that pleasant experience to sell more of your stuff or items or products or services in your business? If you want to learn more about business too, but mostly persuasion for business and entrepreneurship, get subscribed to my email list. The link to do so is in the episode description wherever you're watching and or listening to this, and I'll see you there.